Hey Alpha Fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, of course, we're going to go over that blood red on the charts. Guys, if we do just jump straight over to the Bitcoin chart, you can see what happened. It was a little bit expected. I've been talking about this for a while, that Bitcoin dominance got extremely high. Of course, Bitcoin started to make lower highs on the chart, right? Lower high, lower high, lower high. And this implies a downtrend, especially as we're coupling it with lower lows. So what's going to happen? Bitcoin dominance is high. Bitcoin's making lower highs. That means money is fleeing into Bitcoin for safety, and your altcoins are just going to bleed to death. Okay, I've been warning you about that ever since we put in this lower high over here. And, simply on a maintenance kind of mode setting, we've just been following this chart as we've been consolidating to the right. Normally, when you do have a massive consolidation after a massive push to the upside, you are going to get some consolidation to the downside, or at least sideways, right? And so that's what we've been following. Unfortunately, we were not able to get above that daily Bollinger Band midline that we were talking about on the last couple episodes. We did put in a nice pump here, but unfortunately we weren't able to show that strength the way that we did over here the last time we got a pump, right? The way that we did back here when we got a pump. And so, guys, that Bollinger Band midline is pretty important. It's a nice psychological level to have on your chart. And if you fail there, just understand, what do I always say, right? What I've been saying for 3 or 4 years of this channel. We got to capture the Bollinger Band midline. Now, just to add confluence to that, of course, I do have my system of the alpha momentum pools. Between the green lines, that's the pool, and the volatility pivot is usually somewhere around it. Now, typically speaking, when you're above the pool and you're above the volatility pivot, that's permission to long, okay? And if you're below the volatility pivot and you're below the pool, that's permission to short. So you can see we had a little tiny baby wick above here. Maybe you could have taken an entry. The candle didn't close. It closed well below the pool and the volatility pivot. And so this point back here was our permission to short off of this closure over here on this daily candle. Just going forward, of course, we had another pool, which was a little bit more extended. Of course, you can see the volatility is expanding to the downside, and we can see that, yeah, we never were able to close this candle above the volatility pivot, and definitely not above the pool. And so there was no permission to long here, just a little bit of hope that we could capture that level. We never did, and we just plummeted right down to my support zone. Guys, of course, we had yet another update, and this one was much more tricky, guys. This was my last update, and I was telling you that we had this kind of month-long hidden bullish divergence. And of course, a hidden bullish divergence is not as strong as a class A bullish divergence. So we would expect some type of mean reversion off of that divergence as long as we were able to hold that low above this low. And of course, we would expect a hidden bullish divergence to fail. That's the issue with hidden bullish, is that it can take you all the way back up to the top of your range, but it's usually not powerful enough to break you out of that range on its own, right? And so what we saw is that we did in fact get that pump that we were looking for. We created a little bit of a double bottom. We would have been right here on this candle when I made that episode. We did get above the volatility pivot, and we did get into that pool, suggesting that we could take a long on the side of my momentum pool. And of course, that Bollinger Band midline is a natural target. We also have some of this resistance zone in the middle of the range, and then we also had the big alpha energy where we would critically need to break through in order for continuation, or we would expect a heavy rejection there. Unfortunately, the market just had no energy. I mean, I guess Germany sold off all its Bitcoin. We had a flash crash, and you guys can see exactly the point where you probably would have wanted to get out was when we closed this candle right here on July 3rd, underneath the volatility pivot and underneath the pool. that was your permission to short. And what a short that was, right? A nice 10% on Bitcoin, clearly more than 6,000 dollars to the downside. And of course, I did give this notice to the group. So guys, you have to be part of the group. Please go to the link in the description of the video below, and don't forget to subscribe to the group, because I give critical updates. And before this flash crash happened, I was giving the warning that there was a high likelihood, and in fact, I was also giving warnings up here based upon other patterns in the market even before this, well before this, where we would expect that we were likely to get into a downtrend. But this was definitely the critical area you didn't want to lose. Otherwise, we'd be looking at support at my next support zone down here. And sure enough, we got a little bounce. Now, on a live stream in the group, we actually, took a look on the 15-minute. We took a look on the hourly to see what type of structure was inside of these candles over here, because often we get a front run in those supportive zones. And sure enough, there's a hidden bullish order block back here that we started to get a little bounce off of. And a couple of the guys, like a 2% and some others, were on the live stream with us when we were able to catch that bounce. Now, unfortunately, I can't make a video off of that, because it just is so impulsive to the upside. But guys, yeah, get into the group. You can save your butt for real, okay? And it can also give you some pretty nice entries. Let's just take a look at what we're doing today, because of course this is old news, guys. Everyone and their mom and their mom's dog knows that we just had a crash. Well, what some people don't know is that Germany bought back its Bitcoin. So what kind of manipulation is that? And we just want to take a look, what's going on over here. This is part of the warning that I gave, right? We had all these bearish harmonics just stacking up. And then, of course, we're now making just bearish order block after bearish order block after bearish order block. And all of this is going to be resistance that we have to fight through in order to get back to the upside. We do have a little bit of support here. If we double tap our wick down here, or even make a deeper retracement into this area, then don't be too surprised, because look at this yellow zone that I've marked out here. Yes, we had a deviation, right? We had a deviation off of that nice bullish hidden bullish divergence that I was talking about. It did allow us to deviate and break out, and that was kind of the fake out breakout that people thought, okay, we're at support, we're breaking out, we have bullish divergence, we have a bullish harmonic in this little local area, and it was just a feeble bounce. We weren't able to capture that Bollinger Band midline. No confluence, down we went. As soon as we lost that trend line, I gave another warning out to the group, because that was a catastrophic dump once we lost that trend line right at critical support. You better hang on to your hats, guys. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the bigger zones that we have, because this one might surprise people. They're not really looking at these bigger patterns, but we do have a very large pennant formation that's still pretty much intact here. You can see that we did break down here. We had a little breakdown here. We had a nice pump here. This one was so bullish that it just pumped, it front ran that zone. We did get that pump over here, right in that front run area, off of that bullish divergence that I had pointed out in the last episode. And then, of course, when that hidden bullish was just too weak and too feeble and it failed, we broke underneath that trend line. And then look at this. Look at this. We actually bounced right back into this supportive zone. So I'm not ready to call that this market is over yet. There's lots of reasons to think that, yes, all the red flags need to be raised. And I've put out warning after warning after warning in my group, and also in two other groups that I help moderate. But as long as we keep this structure, this could just be a healthy deviation underneath a macro structure of consolidation that would have a target into that 80s to perhaps even 90s area. We do have a little bit of a supply zone here going diagonally against this one, and that's actually just added confluence, because you can see the combination of this fat zone here, right? That was a nice fat supportive zone, and it supported us multiple times, and it's now perhaps going to support us again. It's also underpinned by this little bit of a supply zone that's at that deviation mark. And the thing that I don't like about this, even though technically this also has a measured move to the upside, if we do break down again, I would expect this not to hold and for us to have a deviation under this broadening wedge pattern, sort of like what we had this deviation underneath this pennant formation, okay, this triangle, okay, this broadening wedge. If it does break down one more time, I'm probably looking closer to 50 at this point, right, kind of filling in this order block down here. But guys, right now we're just reclaiming this pattern, and we have to see, can we break above this downtrend? This was a deviation. We don't count that. We're trying to break above this downtrend here, and then we're going to have to fight with this kind of just extension, right? It's a trend extension, and you can extend trends trends get extended all the time, right? We have one here, right? We have one here, we have one here, we have one here. So guys, trends are not the end all be all. As soon as you break one, you just got to take a look at the next one, okay? And new ones can form all of the time. But this is what we're looking at right now. We've broken back above this trend, right? We're getting into that supportive zone. We're hoping to break out of this diagonal, show a little bit of strength in that previously supportive area up here above that 60K, right? And then we want to capture the Bollinger Band midline, right? As we break out this other, this new trend line that's being formed, right? The trend extension. And so if the price is able to do something like this, that could set up an inverted head and shoulders, which then could take us to the top of our range, or at least somewhere inside of our range, before either getting a massive smackdown or a pretty interesting breakout, guys. And that's my perspective on a patterns basis. But let's go ahead and just put some type of new pools to it, because I know you guys love the alpha momentum pools. And I just got to say, on a daily basis, it's looking kind of interesting, but we're not there yet, okay? We're not there yet. You can see that we now have Class A bullish divergence off of this low, as long as we can hold it as the low. If we break back down here and make a new low, maybe we're going to add up some new divergence or something. We're going to have to take a look at it at that time, okay? Because it can change the picture big time. Just like when this hidden bullish broke down, that hidden bullish doesn't count anymore, okay? Like, that's the most we got out of it. It was a nice little move, right? Better than this trickle down bleeding. We got a nice little pump off of my hidden bullish divergence setup with that bullish harmonic. Well, we've got a new bullish harmonic. Look at this one in the background here. And we've got Class A bullish divergence, potentially putting in a low off of that zone that I was talking about, which was supportive in the past, that we got nice bounces off of. Should we break above there, we're going to actually get out of the bear zone around $59,206. That would put us above the momentum pool. That would put us above the volatility pivot. And should we get that breakout, should we recapture that floor around that $60,000 area, should we recapture, right, that Bollinger Band midline, and if all of this lines up, it's going to be looking very interesting. I would expect us to try to take out that 64,000. If we fail that, it could be pretty nasty, okay? It could get very nasty. But if it's just a slight pullback from that area and we hold that $60,000 floor, then we might take another crack at it and maybe even get up here to that big alpha energy around 66,000, where if we do end up flipping that one, we're very close to the bull zone. We might have to do a little bit of a reset, and if we break out from there, well, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump back to the bull market, guys. Where do we lose that volatility pivot on a daily basis? On a closing candle basis, it's underneath 56,525. Guys, where do we lose the pool? We've already lost it. We're underneath it, but that's not permission to short yet. We don't have the volatility pivot on our side. The bias is just neutral here. Should we break above the add or lose momentum above 58,000, 469, so basically 58,500. Then we'll add momentum to the upside. We're going to take a crack at that bear zone at 59,206. Flip that, right? Flip basically 60,000 and grab that Bollinger Band midline. That's the 21 EMA that I'm using, guys. Some people use the 20 MA. I think Mr. Bollinger Band likes the Mr. Bollinger, that's his actual name. He likes the 20 MA. I personally think that crypto reacts better with a faster EMA, so I use the 21 EMA. Same thing, basically the same prices, basically the same strategy. Okay, that's just my personal preference in how I trade. I like it a little bit faster. And so, guys, this is what we're going to be looking at. Again, a rejection could get pretty nasty. Should we lose this area, we're probably going to come back down. Check into that bullish order block we got here. Maybe we have a second try. If we fail that second try, I'm really going to be looking down at the 50s, and hopefully we don't have to be talking about the 40s. Guys, that's your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.